Good morning. I hope everybody's doing well, and I hope that you had the type of Christmas you were hoping for. For some of us, we're hoping for something fairly low key and calm. For others of us, we like it crazy and wild and out of control. So I myself had a great Christmas, exactly the kind that I wanted. All right, so I'm back to talk a little bit more about this situation with Christopher and Katie Proudfoot. You know, I'll say this. Oh, where is my silly video? Yep. Is that it? No. Hold on. Yes, this is it. Sorry. Okay. So, I am, there we go. There's this big discussion among two different camps. There's this big discussion about, who's right or who's wrong. Now, as far as I can tell, the people that are just interested in Sebastian Rogers and what happened to Sebastian Rogers, how does one kid just go missing poof into the middle of the night? Those people, it seems like those creators are not really they're not very really concerned about what other creators are doing or talking about. It seems to be more the people that are on the other side of the camp, people that are looking at those that were in the life of Sebastian Rogers and the sycophants that are screaming, they're innocent, leave them alone. They're actually using the word innocent, right? To say, oh, another innocent person gets thrown under the bus. I want to remind you of one particular innocent. Again, same group of people, same people screeching out, oh, he's innocent. This is such an innocent man. When his wife poofed into thin air and her bicycle was found down the hill, interestingly enough. Well, there were those of us that said, look, the reality is the circumstances of the situation. The truth is, it's simply impossible that Suzanne Morphew went missing off of a bicycle. Stay with me, given the tale that was told by fashion guru Barry Morphew, right? That his story was so unlikely. It was just silly. Like the words that he said, the behaviors that he used, it was just silly. Oh, did the cat get her? Was it a lion? Maybe the cat got her. I think it was a mountain lion. Do you think it was a mountain lion? To the tune that everybody's sort of standing around going, what the hell is this man even talking about? Like, what is he saying? They had many channels would bring in animal experts, right? Like wildlife and fisheries professionals, that kind of thing. They would bring people in and they would comment and say, no, mountain lions do not drag their prey uphill. This is just so ridiculous, Barry. I still don't even believe. When I go back and look at the individual facts from this case and this investigation, you just have to laugh at the audacity of this silly man, right? But he claimed, oh, the cat, when cats, when they kill their prey, they drag them uphill. No, you liar, they don't. And also, elk don't shed. At the time that you told law enforcement, people who lived and grew up in Colorado their entire lives, they understand the wildlife in the area, and you're going, oh yeah, surely, they shed on Mother's Day. No, they don't. Ever. Even the most ridiculous, even the most ridiculous elk or deer, even the most ridiculous elk or deer ever would be shedding their horns on Mother's Day. They shed their horns in the midst of winter, like January onward. It's just so, I mean, even I guess, well, in Louisiana, they will start shedding in December even. So it's kind of it's the fact that he would stand with hubris, such confidence, and the confidence ended up, even though it was spoken with great firm resolution of truth. He spoke these words, what was known as hubris. He spoke these words so firmly. Oh, yes, I did, in fact, turn left and head down the road because I saw an elk who was dragging his horn, and I wanted to see where they were traveling. So I went looking for this shed antler on Mother's Day. May. Sorry, Barry, it's comically stupid, your lies. And you didn't say it to a bunch of women in New York City. You didn't say it to a group of people that would have absolutely zero reason to know the habits or the movement or the biological patterns of a herd of elk. You said it to people who grew up, live, eat, and breathe in elk country. So Mother's Day is May, and the animals in Colorado begin shedding their horns like January, February, March for the most part. Maybe a little bit, maybe the first week or so in April, maybe a few weeks into December, depending on the weather and things like that, but nowhere near Mother's Day. So the most ridiculous elk on the planet, Barry, don't shed their antlers in May. All right? Now then. So that's only one tiny little thing that Morphew said that led regular, normal people, logical, rational people, led them to say, oh, this is a lie. Like, this is a true bald-faced lie. He can't force Mother Nature to do what he wants Mother Nature to do. So people that are simply caring about the facts of the case, and they're not caught up emotionally in what's unfolding, those people don't tend to say, hey, look at Christopher Proudfoot and Katie Proudfoot. Oh, they're so innocent. Just look, they look like the perfect American family. And they're living in their pretty little suburb in their perfect American home, driving the perfect American cars. Oh, yes, and let's don't forget, these are veterans. Stand and salute. None of those factors that you guys are using to say these are innocent people, none of those factors have anything to do with whether or not a person has the propensity to be violent or that the person is psychopathic enough, has a high enough level of psychopathy that they could make a kid disappear and have absolutely no feelings of guilt about it. None of you are asking these questions. The kind of house you live in has nothing to do with whether you are high in psychopathy. None. The way you look has nothing to do with your levels of psychopathy. None. It is your actions and your behaviors, the history of your past behaviors. These are the things that open a discussion about, is this person capable of either committing violence or possibly simply finding a way to disappear your own kid, whether it's your child, biological, or it's your stepchild, correct? And yet, what does everybody say when you go into these channels and you watch the side chat, you watch the discussions, or when we creators that are talking about this case, we get attacked in our side chat or in our messages or whatnot? The thing is always about, oh, how dare you? I would never do, a mother would never do that to her child. Are you sure? How many mothers do we have that are currently, right now, today, sitting in prison for crimes against their own children? No, men are so protective and loyal and loving, and Chris just, all he wants to do is provide for his family. He just wants to provide for Katie and Sebastian. Just look at the house they live in. He's such a great provider. How dare you say he has the capacity to hurt someone? What do you mean he just wants to provide? He's had 5 wives. One of his wives has come forward to tell a tale of just jaw-dropping levels of misogyny and narcissism. To hit a little kid and say he has to man up? What? That's so dumb. It's so dumb. The statement is just categorically dumb. There's no defense to that statement at all. Even if you want to look at the ex-wife Nina and say, oh, I'm not going to believe her because why would she come online looking all beautiful and pretty? She looked like she was trying to pick up a man. She didn't look like a woman who had been brutalized and traumatized. Just look how she looks. Doesn't have anything to do with how she looks. Maybe she dressed like that. Maybe she fixed her hair. Maybe she wore her makeup and looked beautiful because she was terrified, because she knew that things would be picked apart and she wanted to make sure at least that nobody was making fun of the way she looked. Something that the virtue signalers do all the time. You judge people's innocence or guilt based on how they look. It's bad. It's so bad. It's so bad. So these facts that, like the mountain lying, these so-called facts that you want to talk about. Oh, we got to listen to the facts. We got to listen to what the cops say, the police. If they were guilty, they would be arrested. What? How long did it take them to arrest Richard Allen? How long did it take them to arrest Barry Morphew? And remember, Barry Morphew would be sitting in prison right now today had it not been for the idiot Linda Stanley. in her stupid leather jacket. She was in a movie in her mind. She was being a legend in her own mind. She wanted to be a Hollywood person. She was so excited to go up on the channel with Chris McDonough. Oh, look, I'm going to be on TV. I'm going to be famous. She didn't give a damn about avenging Suzanne Morphew. And that is the only reason that Barry Morphew is out walking around, and he knows his days are numbered. He knows they're coming for him. He knows that. Why do you think he lives in a little throwaway, no good camper in Arizona? It's coming, and he knows it's coming. So how long did it take them to arrest Charlie Adelson, for God's sake? A decade. In fact, you know what? It took them so long to actually go after Charlie. They went through 4 trials before they finally got to Charlie, because they had to take the girlfriend, get her. She went through 2 trials. The first one was hung jury, went through the second trial. And then once they got her life in prison, she did multiple statements to the police where she denied over and over and over and over again, oh, Charlie didn't do it. Charlie never said it. Charlie never ordered the hit, until finally that prosecutor finally got her to say, okay, Charlie did it. And then they came for him 8 years after the case. This is not a simple, oh, look, I have evidence, now I'm coming for you. The district attorney has to match up the collected evidence with the statute, what they're charging. It's a process. It's a dance, if you will. It's a dance between the police and the DA that we don't get to see. We're not a part of that. But if you and I can look at these cases, and you and I can break down the curiosities that we see, it's pretty easy to see what can be used as circumstantial evidence and what cannot be used as circumstantial evidence. And I'll say this deal about Christopher Proudfoot's truck getting caught up in the geofencing warrant, I'm not sure if that's circumstantial evidence or direct evidence, but I know one thing without a doubt, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that is evidence. And you are going to see his criminal attorneys try and get that evidence thrown out. So there is a different flavor of discussion between the group that are really simply interested in the crime. By the way, I think Charlie Adelson is going to win his appeal. I think Charlie Adelson is actually innocent. I think his sister and his mom did it, and we'll just have to wait for this appeal to play out. But that is a side note. All right, so back to this case. So there's 2 different camps here. You're gonna hear a different flavor of discussion depending on what channel you're on and what that creator believes. So the one side who enjoys the mystery of true crime, and they look at these cases to look at the evidence, to look at the set of circumstances. That group of people that everybody's saying is speculation. Speculation is not a bad thing, people. Do you know that speculation is the thing that drives the development of hypotheses? And then once you develop your hypotheses, then you set about trying to disprove it. Isn't that what a trial is? All right. I absolutely, Trishy, you are so, I'm assuming you're talking about the Adelsons. You are so on point with that. So I'm going to take a little side note here to address Trishy, because this is the first time I've seen someone say this. She says, do you think political pressure of the verdict will affect the appeal being successful? I do believe that, Trishy. there's a heavy political element in the prosecution of Charlie Adelson. There was actually a large group that started online that ran parallel to the activities of Black Lives Matter, where there was a large group campaign started that that Florida was racist, the district attorney was racist, the prosecutor is racist because they only charged people of color, and that the rich white Jewish people, that they were left alone to be rich white and Jewish, I suppose. They literally were campaigning, like Black Lives Matter were campaigning to have the Adelsons arrested and prosecuted. 8 years. And here's the critical part: no new evidence was collected. None. Zero. You also have a judge who's African American. I think he's a great judge. I'm not saying anything bad about it. But you have a judge who's African American, and he knows that there is this very, very active, loud group saying, arrest the Adelsons, arrest the Adelsons, arrest the Adelsons. And the prosecutor, Georgia, she actually was on camera being interviewed just weeks before Charlie Adelson was arrested. And she was saying, you think I don't want to arrest Charlie? I do want to arrest Charlie. I don't have any evidence. Boom. Mic drop. And I know that the appellate lawyer that's handling this case received that information. I know they did. So the question is, well, how is she gonna defend charging him 8 years after the case when there's been no new information or evidence collected? Well, because she had a detective, a police officer, go through and suddenly claim, oh, I can hear the restaurant recordings. I can hear what they're saying. Here, let me type it out for you, and you listen to it, and then you'll know that he should be charged. The problem is no one could understand the recording except this one man with super duper ooper hearing. You even had professional audiologists playing back these recordings, and they could not make hide or hair of what this man claims that he could hear. So yeah, everybody get ready, because I still believe Charlie Adelson's going to win his appeal. All right, Barry is getting acclimatized to living in a small environment. It may be, Martin. I was thinking more of the border. All right, now then. That's funny. That in itself is racist. It's anti-Semitism, otherwise known before 1880 as Judenhaben, Jew hate. The political power that came to be in the charging of the Adelsons was astronomical. Astronomical. Not only did you have the very real influence of Black Lives Matter on the charging of this guy, but the evidence is terrible. They used the evidence that proved his sister and mom were involved and said it was for him. It was a crazy case. But anyway, let me get back to what I was saying. So you'll see you'll see two different flavor of conversations coming from that of the group of creators who enjoy the mystery of true crime, and they're looking at evidence, circumstantial or direct anyway, and hypothesizing, as compared to the group of what I've come to call them virtue signalers, who are simply standing on this soapbox of, I'm a good person, I'm a better person than you guys are. Can't you see that she's a female who gave birth? That means she's grieving. I'm sorry, that doesn't mean that. There are actually plenty of biological mothers that absolutely have zero bond to their biological children, or even stepchildren or adopted children. That is a reality, and it's an unfortunate, and it's a horrible reality. We want moms of the world to be June Cleaver. We want moms of the world to be protective and baking cookies for their children. And we want them sitting down and playing a game of Uno with them. We want that, but it doesn't mean that it is true. Correct? So, I think I want to take a listen to this little clip right here. Lady Rebel. Let's see what Lady Rebel. Lady Rebel says there's a big difference between going to a victim's home and causing chaos on the street and discussing the facts of the case online. No contact should be made to a victim or creator by a victim. Lady Rebel, I am 100% in agreement. 100%. In fact, I was mystified when I started seeing creators reaching out to victims' families and friends, victims themselves even who actually like. So I remember, you remember the case, I don't really want to use names. You remember the case that was in Austin, and it was a mother and a baby, newborn baby went missing, and everybody thought the dad did it, right? And later, the baby was found at a house in Houston. And it came to pass that the person that ended up unaliving the mom and then taking the baby as if she had given birth to the baby, in that case, there was actually people that got in their car. This is horrible, y'all. They got in their car and they drove over to the house where the baby was discovered, and the dead mother was in the backyard in a car. They drove over there and started filming when the ambulance and the cops were all still there. How nuts is that? Why do you want to insert yourself into a crime scene? I mean, you have people calling on the phone. Hey, is that your friend? Is that your friend whose baby is gone? Who's missing her friend? Is that your friend? Would you like to come on my show and talk? Stop. That is disgusting. I had this chick, it's crazy, during the Chris Watts case. He had pled guilty, and all that. He was gone off to jail. I guess he'd been in jail a few months or whatever. One of these ladies had tried to befriend me. Now, I made some scathing videos about these two ladies, but I'm talking about Mel and Kel. But Mel was, the night that it all came out about Chris Watts' story about what happened to the little girls and everything, Mel reached out, sent me an email, and she was like, I'm in shock. I can't believe this. I can't believe what happened. And then as things kind of went on, and I was always so skeptical because I was like, they're being real shady. They're wanting to think that they're going to try to make me think I'm a trusted friend with them. And then I would ultimately end up ruining the day. Correct. So I always kept them at arm's length, never talked about myself or anything, just listened to what they had to say. And then I'd make little comments about what she had to say. Anyway, she actually literally, I've got the emails because I was so shocked. I actually put them on my external hard drive. Unbelievable that this happened. She literally said that she could get me an interview with Cindy Watts, that I would be able to bring Cindy Watts onto my channel, and that I would be able to interview Cindy Watts. And now here's the part that I was shocked about. I wasn't shocked about Cindy, but listen to this. We could even get you on the phone with Chris Watts? Wouldn't you like to ask Chris these questions? And my response was immediate. And it was, under no circumstances that I can imagine, no matter how ridiculous and ludicrous, can I come up with a single thing that would make me want to get on the telephone with Chris Watts for any reason. Nothing. Because this is a heinous, disgusting human being. And I don't believe in psychics, and I don't believe in demon possession and all of those kind of things. I think all of that goes back to mental illness. But I will tell you this, that man did the most unspeakable violence against his family. He desecrated their bodies after the unspeakable violence. He did all this with no drugs on board, according to him. And then he went on to serve life in prison. And we found out that he was not on any psychiatric medication at all. He was making jokes about being glad that he wasn't the guy out there shoveling snow, that wasn't his job. He had zero amount of anxious distress. Zero. He could have just as easily been talking about how great the Journey concert was as when he was talking about how heinous the death of his wife was. He did refuse to speak on his children, thank goodness. But when he finally did with the investigators, who in the world could actually voice the words, I put a child, any child, not just your child, any child, I put a child into an 8-inch diameter, 3-foot pipe, and then had to use my foot to push them down into the oil. Could you ever even imagine? And yet he did that. Oh, Bella's in this tank, Cece's in this tank, and then he ate pizza. No psychiatric drugs at all to mute his anxious distress. He's not taking Xanax. He's not on like any kind of anti-anxiolytic, Buspar, nothing. He's not on Topamax, mood regulator, nothing. That is the definition of psychopathy. That there's something wrong in the brain that doesn't feel this extreme emotion. Oh yeah, I think I'll have pizza for dinner. Oh yeah, I think I'll kill my wife. Each one carries the same level of emotional feedback. It's truly frightening. And so of all of these cases, of anything I've ever known by way of crime, this is one that I look at Chris Watts and say, this man is pure evil. Purely. I mean, it's just incredible. So she says to me, oh, look, we can get you an interview with Cindy Watts. Oh, even better, we can get you an interview with Chris. Wouldn't you like to talk to Chris? I was like, no, no, that is the last thing I want to do. I don't want that kind of evil anywhere near my life at all. And yet, what did you see? You saw people on YouTube, creators, some subscribers, buddying up with this family, opening their minds and their souls to the evil influences that these people are putting out. Shocking. So no, I don't think there's a place at all for subscribers and creators to go in search of victims, families, perpetrators, or let me say alleged or potential perpetrators. No, I don't like it. Nope, don't like it. But those that do, those that get approached by potential murderers, and they say, oh, this is cool, man. I got this person whose name is showing up in all these newspapers, getting talked about on all these YouTube channels and being talked about all over television. These people are seeking me out. I must be special. No, hell no, you're not special. You are not special when the likes of Christopher Proudfoot befriend you. You're just one in a long line of creators that were approached and said, not no, but hell no. You're just the dumbass that took the bait. That's the truth. So this was an interesting panel that Elevated Truth had. These are the creators that said, sure, come on in. You're famous. No, the word you're looking for is infamous. You're infamous. You will give me a platform. You will make my channel grow. You will make me rake in the money. So come on up. Be my friend. I'm willing to protect and speak out on your innocence. You are speaking out on the innocence of a man that you know nothing about. And even worse, you failed to listen to the stories about this guy. Did you watch Nina? Because a woman like that, in that level of trauma, well, she ought to be the world's next Meryl Streep if she's lying. That kind of emotion, you don't fake. But again, you guys are so smart. You know so much more than people that just are looking at the facts of the case. You know so much more, don't you? I mean, look at them. Look how they look. Look at the pretty house they live in. Look at the all-American cars they drive. That's exactly what a racist is. A racist looks at someone's appearance and says, oh, look, that's a bad person because their skin has the wrong amount of melanin in it. That is a racist. It's just that in this type of situation, we're not looking at someone's like whether they're, well, I guess actually we are. Technically we are. You look at their pretty house and you think that has got to be a good person. Anyone that would live in a house like that has got to be a good person. But anyone that lives in a little small apartment or a little tiny little house, anyone who works at a jail as a jailer, that cannot be a good person. Anyone who's overweight, they're not going to be a good person. Or maybe their hair is too long or they wear dreadlocks. That can't be a good person. But oh, look at that beautiful red, long, silky hair. That has got to be a moral, principled person. Just look at Christopher Proudfoot. He looks like the all-American daddy. He's just got to be a good person. You're literally revealing yourself to be a potential racist. Do you know that? You really are. You're judging this. What happened to this little boy? You're judging it by appearances. You are not stopping to take time to think about reality. Here's a reality. This is not speculation. This is pure 100% fact. It is a fact that Katie Proudfoot says that she was the last person in the house with that kid. All the doors were locked. And when they went to bed, when she went to bed at midnight, that she woke up the next morning and her child was gone without a trace and the doors were still locked and his shoes were still there. That is a fact. All of you people saying, oh, maybe he was lured out. Maybe he was online and he was talking to perverts and they lured him out. What the hell do you think? Do you think that pervert said, hey, kid, sneak out the front door so everybody can see you leave? Oh, yeah, don't wear your shoes. Stop. That's just, why do you want to reveal yourself to be foolish? That is not real. But it is real that when Katie tells the story, when Christopher Proudfoot tells the story, they don't ever get any further than the front door. They never get any further than the front door. What's wrong with my child? Where is he? Is someone taking care of him? Is he safe? Is he in a house? Where is he? I have to help him. None of that. Even Katie and Chris never leave the house when talking about the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers. Well, he could have gone here and maybe he went there and could have gone here. He loves this. He loves that. He's attracted to this. None of that. None of that. Think about it. You want another fact? Here's a fact, an absolute bald-faced fact. Check it. See if I'm lying. Katie Proudfoot speaks. She tells the story of Sebastian. And she says, I hear something and I say, hey, knock it off, or something like that. So I don't know what you're doing in there, but knock it off, something like that. The interviewer says, oh, you heard a sound. Yes, I heard a sound. What did it sound like? What was the answer to that? Who remembers the answer? The first answer to that. What did it sound like? I can't really understand. I can't really explain it. Was that her first explanation of the No, Kimberly Myers, it was not described as a thud. No, that would absolutely not. She tells the story first, there is no sound. Then people kind of thought, that's weird. Why wouldn't she speak to him or check him? Second time, she said there's a sound. Interviewer said, what did it sound like? She said, I can't really explain it. That is exactly what she said. I can't really explain it. And then everybody said, what? What do you mean you can't explain it? If you heard a sound, you should be able to explain something of it. It was only when she was asked weeks later that she says with great authority, I heard a thud. You heard a thud? How did we go from I can't explain it at all to I heard a thud? I don't know about you, but if my special needs kid especially, but just my regular neurotypical child, if it's, approaching midnight, I sent him to bed hours ago and there is a thud, I'm going to get up off my butt and go check out whatever the thud was. Because that means something happened. That means something fell or something broke or my child bumped into something. Right? It's just so the fluidity of her answers is just, and then she quit talking. Why? Why'd she quit talking? Because she couldn't keep it straight. She couldn't keep her story straight. She's not as practiced as Christopher Proudfoot with his 5 wives and 7 CPS cases, allegedly, according to what the father of the missing child said. The father who has hired an attorney to help him get the CPS cases that he was legally entitled to. I literally heard someone on one of these panels say, what kind of father would hire an attorney to petition CPS to give them information? What kind of father would do that. A real father, a man who was entitled to know the condition of his child. That's what kind of father. Now then, in this clip that I'm about to play, these are facts, people. Okay, facts. Now, and I like hypothesizing. I don't have a problem with speculation and hypothesis at all, as long as you name it, right? So in this clip, Elevated Truth, through this process of conversation, even confrontation, it comes out Christopher Proudfoot said, now remember, you guys are holding me to truth. Okay, so I'm speaking in truth. Judy, Trishy, I'm speaking in truth. Okay. Christopher Proudfoot said that his truck was caught up in the geofencing net. If that is a fact, put a 1. If you think that I am speculating, put a 2. Let me say it again. Christopher Proudfoot said that his truck was swept up in the geofencing net. Is that right or wrong? Okay, so a lot of people say, yeah, that is what happened on this panel. It was said, and then Christopher Panel joined the panel. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Elevated Truth said that Christopher Proudfoot said this. And then, and here's where the fact is, Christopher Proudfoot jumped up on panel. Don't you talk about my truck. And they ended up having this big fight because he was triggered and he was upset. And during that outburst, he admitted that his truck was caught up in the geofencing net. He admitted it. You know, Martin, stay with me, buddy. You know when he admitted it? He admitted it when he said, that was at 1 o'clock in the afternoon when I arrived. True. Am I telling the truth? Are these facts that I'm telling you? Y'all got to school Martin, set him straight. As a person on YouTube, I don't want to talk or befriend any victims or suspects. I went out on my way once for weeks until I got a phone appointment with CW's warden begging him to be kept off the internet. Oh my gosh, terrifying. Okay, it's true. What I've just told you is a factual synopsis. Elevated Truth tells a story basically saying Christopher Proudfoot lies. That was the intent of his story. What he was talking about was Christopher Proudfoot saying the words, talking about the police, those dumb MFers didn't even or don't even know that was my truck. Period. All right? He says that. Christopher Proudfoot is triggered to hell and back, maybe drunk because he's kind of slurring his words a little. He comes up on panel. We hadn't seen hide nor hair of this guy, and he jumps out of the shadows to screech at Elevated Truth. Don't talk about my truck. Don't go talking about my truck. And then this exchange happens, and then Christopher Proudfoot says the fateful words, that was at 1 o'clock when I was arriving in town. And I did a whole video explaining this, why it's shocking, and you can absolutely prepare yourself for a trial. Because when you get a geofencing warrant, they're very careful about invading people's privacy. They're not going to issue a generic warrant saying dig into this person's life in any manner, shape, or form. They don't do that. When they do legally a warrant that will hold up in court, it has to name specifically what you're looking for and when and why. With a geofencing warrant, they want to know why you're looking at this space. There has to be a potential crime. You have to have evidence of a potential crime. And then, and here's the coup de grace, you have to name the time of the inquiry. When do you believe this crime happened? And you have to give the judge evidence to prove why you believe it happened at that time. And the only time that we have that a honest judge would sign off on would be 3 a.m. because that's the time of the security camera footage that shows the car in the road. Yes, it also shows what appears to be flashlights coming down through the backyards of these houses, originating from the Proudfoot home where there happens to be a missing 15-year-old boy. So the geofencing warrant would have been this known location for the potential crime of kidnapping. And we can prove the time because we have a car in the middle of the road that backs out, and we have a couple of flashlights approaching the car. And then you add 15 minutes before that time and 15 minutes after that time. And you know what that means, people? They looked at the time frame from 2:45 to 3:15, and they caught Christopher Proudfoot's truck in the geofencing net. He says on Elevated Truth, they caught my truck at 1 o'clock in the afternoon when I was already home because Sebastian was gone. And that is not true because there's no way in hell that a judge will sign off on a warrant that says, well, we're just going to sweep the whole 24-hour period. And common sense, why would they look at 1 o'clock for all of these digital RFID devices and such when the neighborhood was quite literally filled with strangers looking for Sebastian? It was cops everywhere, firemen everywhere, even neighbors, even people from the surrounding city came to look for this child. It would be pointless to do a geofencing net at that period of time because you would have literally dozens of unexplained connections. That's not what it just would make no sense at all. None. This is how they found the location of JJ and Tylee. They went back and said, wait a minute, okay, when do we know that they were last seen, last alive? Let's take that time and let's look at Chad Daybell's house. At those times that we know they were last alive, we have proof of life, they were at Yellowstone, yada, yada. They have the weekends when each one went missing. They literally saw their cell phones, Chad's cell phone and Alex Cox's cell phone, literally saw them either at the burn pit or over by the tree by the little pond. That's how they caught them. They did the same thing to Christopher Watts. He's cooked. His goose, he's finished. He's done. And Christopher Proudfoot, if you're taking time to listen to this, you better listen to this next part. The person who comes forward and tells the truth first, they get the better deal, buddy. And conspiracy to commit murder, well, just ask Charlie Adelson about that because he's spending the rest of his life in prison. And all they did was use evidence that was actually against his sister and his mom. They didn't have any evidence against Charlie except word of mouth. Oh, yeah, the money was stapled. Other than the money stapling, There was nothing against this guy, nothing. And yet he is sitting in prison for the rest of his life. So if you have any hopes of ever getting out of prison, you might want to be the first one to talk, Christopher. Just saying, even if you're just the hounds of hell, which is what I think. I think he's the hounds of hell. I think that Christopher Proudfoot is the gatekeeper. I think there was a terrible accident and Christopher came to clean it up. That's what I think. And maybe I'm wrong. Probably am wrong, to tell you the truth. It could even be more heinous than that. It could be another Christopher Watts story. Now then, I'm laying off the bleach because it may have affected my common sense. Momming it up. That's funny. All right. So, yep, Daybell, Alex's phone location helped, geofencing data helped convict him. 100%. Absolutely. All right. Now then, did anyone catch CP saying he didn't see Sebastian until he got home the morning of the 26th? Yes. He gave 2 dates between February something and when he returned home the morning of February 26th. I think he said March and then February 26th. I think he was claiming he wasn't home at all during February. But the geofencing data shows that that's not true. All right. Now then, so they're now having this conversation after Christopher Proudfoot's already come up on channel. He's already said, no, my truck was there at 1 o'clock. So he's admitting that he was caught up in the geofencing net. But we know, because of the way that geofencing warrants are obtained, you have to have the signature of a judge. The investigators have to say, we believe the crime was at this location during this time, right? There was no reason to believe there was a crime being committed at 1 o'clock because the whole neighborhood was crawling with people looking for this young man. There was no crime at 1 o'clock. But what there was were dozens and dozens and dozens of cell phones that are not normally there in that neighborhood. So a geofencing warrant would have just been an exercise in futility. It would have just been looking for a needle in a haystack. The time of a known or potential crime was 3 a.m. when there is strangely a car sitting in the middle of a road, just sitting there, and you've got 2 flashlights approaching the car and 1 flashlight going back to the house. You know, I would say this, even if they just had the 1 flashlight approaching the car, that would be less indicative of a crime. The real indication of a crime is when that second flashlight turned around and ran back to the Proudfoot home. That is an indication of misdeeds, right? So they're having this conversation, and then I want you to listen to what it kind of turns into, which is this discussion about creators.
Yeah, I get it.
People are going to push back because they're saying already, like, no, you cared more about the truck. To clarify, that right there was going to lead to another 100 live streams saying, boom, Chris is guilty. So it's not that he cared about the truck over Sebastian. He cares about, as he said, the misinformation and disinformation, or half of the information being out there that leads to hours of speculation that does not result or even help Sebastian be found because it's not based on fact. So no.
I think you're wrong, Granny's watching. I think I've proven in my prior video that it absolutely does lead to fact. You have to understand a geofencing net cannot occur because it would be a violation of your federal rights. A geofencing net cannot just be applied in a blanket fashion as if you're under surveillance. They can't do that. They have to have a reason and a location. Then they have to go to a judge and they have to convince that judge to sign a warrant. And they have to tell the judge why the information that they're going to gather, why it's important. how it could be evidence of a crime. This is evidence. This discussion here is evidence of the uninformed not understanding what they're talking about. Christopher Proudfoot not understanding what he's talking about. That was my truck when it was 1 o'clock when I got home. Man, Christopher Proudfoot, shut up. It doesn't actually, Chris, here's the truth. You're cooked. Your goose is cooked. It doesn't matter at this point what you say or do. It doesn't matter if you disappear. It doesn't matter if you quit talking. None of that matters anymore. You've acknowledged what we have speculated on. And we speculated on it based on your own words during interviews. It was clear that you were there in February. It was clear. But there was no proof. It was just, well, that doesn't make sense. The only reason he would be able to say that would be if he was actually there. And why did Christopher talk about the night like he was there? Why did Katie start telling her story and look to Christopher like, is that what we did? And he shook his head. Yeah, the cousin. We went to get the cousin. We all said, this is so curious. Why are they doing this? Makes no sense. Well, now it does. And there's evidence.
He didn't care about the truck. Just being simple-minded.
Well, once again, that's where people, they have their opinions.
Not
And
anymore.
I've stated the fact.
Well, opinions don't write a probable cause affidavit. And people need to
Exactly.
remember that. Your feelings about people and maybe them being shady or, whatever. And I'm talking to the creators and the viewers. They don't write a PCA,
That's right.
right? You have
The
to have
district
evidence.
attorney does.
And as we all know, right now, there is no evidence against anybody.
Oh, but we know of one piece of evidence, don't we? Because Christopher Proudfoot can't be quiet. When Christopher Proudfoot gets triggered, he wants to burn it all down. If you say something that Christopher Proudfoot doesn't like, you have to be punished. And that is the only reason that the people of YouTube now know what one of the pieces of evidence in the arrest documents are going to say. One of the pieces of evidence is going to talk about what? The location of Christopher Proudfoot's truck. It's real. And I'm going to tell you this too. Here's another angle. Are these creators, are they aware that they could actually be caught up in this case? Do they understand that they could have charges brought against them? I mean, so Stephen Crabtree, a day or two ago, uploaded a video, apparently. I didn't go watch it because I don't want to give these people my views. But apparently he uploaded a video, and you know what the big coup de grace was? Cluminati was on another channel, maybe Queen Bee's channel. Cluminati was saying, oh, the internet's going to be on fire. It's going to be lit up, man. It's going to be it's going to be epic. Why? What do you think the big reveal was going to be? The thing that she was just so excited about. Christopher, my friend Christopher, my handsome, cute friend Christopher, he's going to be vindicated. You know what the vindication is? The vindication is that Cletus and Crabtree, brace yourselves, Proudfoot, that they all went walking through the trees together. That they all went on a search for Sebastian walking through the forest of Tennessee. Oh, yeah. And they also tumbled down some hills. They tripped over some roots of some trees. That ought to prove that Christopher Proudfoot didn't do anything. What are you even why would your brain even tell you that this is going to be like a big deal and it's going to set the streets of YouTube on fire? That is so sad and shallow. It doesn't make any difference now. What are we at, 10 months? It doesn't make any difference now, 10 months out. If Christopher Proudfoot goes walking through the woods, you live in Tennessee. Most people, most guys are traipsing through the woods. It's so bizarre. I don't even know how blind you have to be to say to yourself, oh, I'm gonna stand up for Christopher and Katie. I'm gonna stand up and I'm gonna protect them and I'm gonna spread their message far and wide. What message are you spreading, Cluminati? You don't know what happens to Sebastian. Or do you? And that is another way that you could get caught up in this investigation, in this case. They could come for your ass for manipulating evidence, interfering with an investigation. You and Cletus have spent an awful lot of time out in the woods with the camera rolling, no one else around. Why is it that the only people that are speaking out for Christopher and Katie Proudfoot are the people that say, oh, we're going to film this. It's going to prove we had a reason to be out here. Maybe there was another reason that you guys were out there. What were you doing? Was disposal of something, was that part of it? Or were you just engaging in good old-fashioned disinformation, misleading the investigators? Because I am nothing. I don't amount to a pile of beans. I am nothing. I just get online and I talk about the things that are published in the damn newspaper. That's all I do. But you guys have inserted yourself into a crime. You have inserted yourselves into a criminal investigation, and I'm assuming that it was done through blind faith. You looked at Christopher and Katie Proudfoot and told yourself, oh, I believe these people. They're going to be innocent, and therefore I'm going to put my own freedom in danger by speaking up for them, by going with them out into the middle of nowhere to give myself an alibi for why I was there. It's the craziest thing I've ever heard. What makes people make these foolish decisions where they put themselves in jeopardy? No family other than BS, no coworkers, no friends, no neighbors, no one has supported them publicly and stood beside the Proudfoots except a bunch of strangers, Sativa. Strangers are the only ones that have stood up with these people and said, I think they're innocent because look at how cute they are. Look at how pretty their house is. They can't possibly be bad people. Yeah? Well, I think Shanann Watts had a damn beautiful house and a monster lived there. Crabtree and Christopher Proudfoot's mother are best friends. Stephen Crabtree and Christopher have been friends long before this shit show. I mean, I suspect there's a lot of that going on, Kim. I suspect there's a lot of buddy behind the scenes. Listen to this. True story. Can't use any real names. In where I come from, there was a terrible occurrence of a young woman who had little children, like toddler age. Her father-in-law was a very, very big deal in the community, like one of those pillars of the community, right? Everybody knew his name. so I can't say what position he held. So this very, very, very well-to-do family, politically connected, powerful in the higher echelons of the local government and state government, actually. His son was married to this young woman, and they had a couple of toddlers. And the guy that they hired to mow their grass, he's out there mowing grass. He hears a gunshot. He goes, that was a gunshot. That was in the house. Oh my God. So he takes off running to go make sure everybody's okay, right? Because he could tell that it was right there in the house. He takes off running, and that's when he notices that the powerful man, that his son, well, he's home. And so he stopped himself and he said, wait a minute, he's not supposed to be here, but I clearly see him, so I'm not going to interfere. Maybe he was cleaning his gun or something, right? So he just goes back to mowing the grass because he thinks the husband's home, nothing, no problem here. And then he finishes up, he leaves, and then later he learns that the woman, the mom, is dead. And he thinks, oh my God, I heard a gunshot. How did she die? And the people around town were all saying suicide. And he was like, oh my gosh, that's terrible. Like, that's really terrible. Well, they ended up bringing in the FBI. It ended up being like a pretty big deal. And this was remember the family I'm talking about now, okay? The whole thing happens, the FBI, and when he finds out the FBI, the gardener, when he finds out the FBI is involved, then he thinks, I haven't told anybody about this except my wife and kids. I haven't told anybody about this, but now we're having like this big investigation. Like, what is that about? And so he goes to the FBI and he says, I'm really scared because this family is like super, super big deal in this area. But I got to tell you what I saw that day. And they were all saying that the son was like down in Alexandria or something. He was working off that day. But the gardener said, no, absolutely not. I was there. I saw her. I said, I'm here to get your yard done. She offered me a bottle of water. I went ahead and did the yard. And when I was up by the road, I heard a gunshot. I turned the lawnmower off. I waited a few minutes listening. And then I thought, oh my God, something happened. And I started running toward the house to see if I could help. It was at that point that I could see through the window, and the husband was there. I saw him with my own two eyes. I saw him, and I stopped and I watched him, and I kept thinking, should I go in? Should I offer help? But then I saw him and he's just standing there. And so I thought to myself, everything must be okay because he doesn't look upset. Maybe he had accidental discharge. He was cleaning his firearm. And so I went back. I finished mowing for the day. I got paid and I left. And the FBI goes, he was there? And he said, absolutely, he was there. Like, I didn't just like catch a glimpse of him. I could see through the window. He was in the other room, but the door was open and he's standing there. And I watched him for quite a while because I was trying to guess if there was a problem. Let that sink in. Ask me if one more point. Found out too that the gunshot into the wife, the mother of these little toddlers, that the gunshot was exactly in the back of her head at the base of her skull. Now I'm going to ask all of you right now, try to pretend like you're holding a gun and get it maneuvered so that it goes straight into the back of your head, the base of your skull, and the exit wound would be your forehead. You can't do it. The mechanics of the body won't do that. So they've got that direct evidence, and they have an eyewitness who says, absolutely, I was there. He was there. He was there. He was absolutely there. Now ask me if the son of this very well-connected man, ask me if he spent even one day in jail. Not one. Not a single day in jail. And it looked like the local investigators were busy destroying evidence, covering up evidence, inventing evidence, than they were in trying to figure out what legitimately happened to this beautiful young woman. One of the things that they discovered is that she had filed for a restraining order that morning. She was in the process of trying to divorce this guy. He was abusive, physically assaulting her. And yet, money talks, bullshit walks. So if you are the son of a wealthy, powerful, good old boy son of the South, you can kind of do whatever you want to do. That's the truth. And a lot of you say, oh, how can you go against the police? Why would you question whether a policeman is honest or not? Hold the blue line. How dare you? I definitely support the police. Definitely. I'm a big fan of law enforcement and the military. And I can also tell you that Dan Crenshaw may have at one time in this life been a hero, been a Navy SEAL, but I know right now that he took $20 million in kickbacks from Ukraine, and that makes him a bad dude because he had to hurt us in order to get that kickback. And so I have seen firsthand, I've seen acts of when people that should have legitimately been investigated and legitimately gone to jail, that they were a member of the club. And the investigation was actually tarnished by law enforcement and investigators, not supported. We had another one. I mean, I came from a little Peyton place, it sounds like. We had another one, the sheriff of the parish. His wife, this is a dear couple, very well-loved couple, elderly, like probably 70s, 80s, very well-loved, very well-known, been there their whole lives. The wife went out into her garden that she lovingly cared for, spent hours and hours each day taking care of her garden, and she went out into her garden and again put a bullet through the back of her head right there in the pea patch. And everybody said, but why? Why would this was a very happy lady, very involved with her church, always having little get-togethers at the church with all of her friends, doing all kinds of things in the community for the kids and the schools and such. I mean, this is a cool lady. She's a sweet lady. Her husband was a sheriff. He's got to be a good guy, right? He's fighting crime. Well, they came to find out that there was a woman in the community that many of the older wealthy men were kind of passing her around. She was like party favors. And guess who was a part of that group? The mayor was one of the guys that got caught up in it. And the other one was the sheriff. And there were lesser known, like less prominent people that were also getting in on the fun. But they clearly did it. She had the proof. And so while many people were saying, oh, it's so sad, why did she do this? Maybe she was sick. I think the general consensus, they went to my church. The general consensus was they thought maybe she had cancer, maybe she found out she had some kind of disease or something, and she didn't want to like go through that nightmare of survival or treatment or whatever, and that may have been the reason that she did it. And then within weeks of this happening, that was sort of the thing that broke the story about the young woman that was being passed around to these prominent, wealthy pillars of the community. And when it came out that he was part of it, and then everybody said he totally did it. Even the way that her body was, the belief, she had her hat on, like her sun hat. Everybody said she was kneel down, she was picking peas, she had that hat on, she never knew it hit her. Never knew it hit her. And he resigned, and there was never any question, there was never any inquiry into him, but he was the sheriff. Why would you? Who's going to do that? It would have fallen upon one of the deputies to go to the state and say, here's the set of circumstances. We need federal investigators. But they never did it. So, yeah, I do love law enforcement, and I stand by these investigations and the attorneys, the prosecuting attorneys. And I mean, I just... But when you grow up in a place like that where everybody knows each other and you really see how close corruption is, and corruption doesn't have to occur in people that are evil and compromised. Sometimes corruption occurs in people that are just trying to save their own neck, or they're trying to save the neck of their son. That's kind of, one of the things that I heard was, we used to play football together. Can you help me out? Remember when we were in high school together? And you're like, well, yeah, but she's still dead. Your wife is still dead. The mother of your little toddler's still dead. Maybe you did. Maybe you were best friends in high school. Maybe you did run around together in college. Maybe you were roommates in college. She's still gone. But that is not how the good old boy system works. The good old boy system is alive and well in Texas, Louisiana, Tennessee, South Carolina. It may be known by other things up north in New York. Maybe it's known as the mob. I don't know. But it's true. It's alive and well. I believe that's part of what Barry Morphew benefited from for quite a long time. I think part of that was, who do you know? Who's your buddies? Who are your friends? Who's going to step up and try to protect you and support you when maybe you really don't deserve that support? So these creators, all of them, well, there's two on this panel here, not in Tennessee, but the rest of them are in Tennessee. I mean, what are they doing? Are they just saying, well, he lives in my neighborhood, so he must be a good guy? You guys have literally inserted yourselves into a criminal investigation, and it's almost like you're not even aware that you've done it. And frankly, I'm going to say this too, Cletus does have enough common sense to understand what I'm saying. He does. Maybe the others don't, but Cletus gets it. What are you doing? You're not stupid. It's amazing. It's amazing what this group is doing. And then you get someone to say, well, we got to talk about facts, but now everybody's only cares about the truck. They're speculating on the truck. Oh no, we're not speculating. You're wrong about that. Your boy, Christopher, he admitted it. End of story. No speculation here. He admitted it. The problem is he's a big old dumbass who thinks he knows everything, who thinks he's smarter than everyone else. And to be fair, he's been able to manipulate a lot of good people. but he didn't recognize what he was admitting to when he said that they saw his truck at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. He didn't realize that. But if you know how they get the geofencing warrants, then you realize he's lying, number one. And the big question is, why is he lying? In my opinion, Cletus gets off on how Clue behaves and speaks. It's in how he responds. Oh, he just laughs, right, Judy? He finds it amusing. He finds, her antics are amusing and fun. And she is a funny lady. I mean, she does say things that are, maybe a little off color, but will definitely make you chuckle, right? So, yeah, but anyway, back to the point here. Cletus is married. No, they're not married. The fiance of Cluminati. She literally calls him the fiance. So, anyway, they live together. According to what I surmise, they appear to live together. But they're really good friends with Christopher Proudfoot and Katie Proudfoot. Some have speculated perhaps they are family members, but I don't know about that. But I do know that they sat together in the courtroom. That sounds pretty chummy to me. So I don't know. It's a little bizarre. So I don't know that I would want to do that. I was thinking, that brings up another point. I was thinking about these people that stand firmly in to white knight for Christopher and Katie Proudfoot. I was thinking about them, and I was thinking about, what would it take? Like, in what world would I be able to look at the facts of this case, this situation, and find myself willing to stand up and proclaim the innocence of this man and woman? I cannot think of a single thing, not a single reason that I would feel that I would be safe or justified speaking up for Katie and Christopher Proudfoot at all. There's nothing. There's literally nothing that says this shows that it's unlikely that they caused the harm or disappearance of their child. You might say, well, past behavior, best predictor of future behavior. Okay. So maybe you run a background check, maybe you check with CPS and you find out there's never been a complaint ever, much less an investigation. You guys may not know this, but I've seen cases where there would be 12 or 15 complaints before they would ever open up an investigation. It's that bad. So when we say that Christopher Proudfoot had 7 investigations, there were 7 files opened. That doesn't count all the complaints that were put out there by the teachers. The teachers were apparently calling all the time. There are photographs where this kid has got a bruise on his neck that looks like the hand of an adult male. The only reason I say adult man is because it's a big hand. Maybe it's a female. I don't know, a big, large female. A really tall one, Cluminati. See how I did that? See what can happen in an investigation in which you insert yourself into? Are you sure you want to be a part of this? And why in the world do you think, come on, people, why do you think Christopher Proudfoot is telling you guys shit like my truck was caught up in the geofencing net? Why is he telling you guys this? Because he's making it so that you guys can never testify. You'll have to take the 5th when you get up on the stand. No one's told you. Have any of you white knighters, have any of you gotten your own attorney? Have any of you asked your attorneys, do you think I'm safe? Do Do you think I've stepped over the line? Look what I said here, this day, in public, in front of the world. You think that's okay? Because the attorney's going to go, you did? Really? Why? Why would you say that on the internet? Why do you want to be a part of the crimes that potentially were committed? I mean, you guys are not thinking this through. You're not. Didn't Chris talk about that looking like a bruise? Maybe I dreamed that. I don't know. What did he say about it, Christy? That doesn't stand out. Holly, that's not why I started following Sebastian, but what unfolded as I was following this case, obviously I can't not stay and try to rationalize it. Thank you, momming it up, for just like being rational, because that's really all we're talking about. It's just rational logic. These people who stand up and say, you have not got any proof that anybody did anything. You don't have any proof. I'm a better person than you are. I'm going to proclaim their innocence far and wide. With what proof? You claim we don't have any proof. What's your proof that they didn't hurt him? The proof I have that potentially they did, the proof I have is Katie's the last person to see this kid. Katie's the one that went from, I didn't hear or see anything, to, well, I heard something, but I just can't explain it, to, it was a thud. Yeah, big, loud, no ambiguous thud. What do you guys have? Now, because of Christopher Proudfoot himself, now we know his truck was there at 3 o'clock in the morning. That's direct evidence. Why lie about it? Why are you screaming and yelling at everybody on the internet? Why are you sending nasty emails saying, you can't talk about Sebastian Rogers? If you talk about Sebastian Rogers, we're going to bring charges against you. Why are you doing that? I mean, most people with a missing kid, they're, number one, weeping, hysterical, begging for the return of their child. Not Katie. Definitely not Christopher. You guys just scream and rage at whoever is trying to keep this story alive. And you guys take people to court to shut them up and silence them. Never in the history of the most ridiculous has anybody ever heard of a missing kid's parents working so hard to shut down an investigation. You think the cops aren't watching? You think they don't know that? I'm a nobody. The cops know 100 times more than what I could even imagine. And I believe that a good prosecutor could take the information that I've talked about and get a conviction. So just chill out. You just keep on sitting there feeling all safe and, oh, they haven't arrested Christopher and Katie, so no crime here. Go ahead, just sit here. Just enjoy that feeling, because it ain't lasting forever. They treat Maman like crap and they gaslight her. I'm so sorry. That doesn't surprise me, Maman. It doesn't surprise me that, I mean, you see the way they reacted with Elevated Truth. They absolutely came at that man. And all he did was tell the what? What did he tell? He told the truth. Elevated Truth told the truth. And they hated it. Granny's watching. You have much bigger problems than somebody just saying, "Oh, you're bullying me." You are too dumb to know the problems that you're in. You literally admitted on camera in front of the world that you are speaking with Christopher Proudfoot behind the scenes and that he told you his truck was there. I swear to God, for you people to be involved in the true crime community, you're not very smart. I mean, I don't want to call people low IQ, but what are you thinking? Why are you putting your reputation on the line? Why are you putting your own potential freedom on the line? Why would you ever want to get wrapped up in this investigation, being the talking head for people that may have actually disappeared their child? What are you thinking? It is very strange that anyone would be willing to do that. Let me say this. I have this best friend. We met in the 8th grade, and I'm an old lady. We met in the 8th grade. Best friends forever. She could call me tomorrow and say, I need $50,000. I would say, absolutely. No questions asked. I'd give it to her free. I would know beyond a shadow of a doubt she'd give it back as soon as she could. No doubt in my mind. Ride or die friendship, right? If she came up and said, my child's missing, I don't know where my child is, I'd be the first one on an airplane getting to her house. I'd stay there with her through the whole kit and caboodle. And the very minute that somebody came in and said, are you aware that your friend has had 7 CPS investigations? And that there's actually an open investigation from January of 2024. And her husband's truck was caught up in our geofencing net at the same time that we have security camera that shows a car in the street and 2 flashlights. Are you aware of that? I would say, no, I wasn't. Thank you for telling me. And then I'd say, you know what? I got to get back to work. I've enjoyed being here with you. I've enjoyed spending time with you. And I'm going to keep on praying for your baby. And I got to go home. And I would be out. I would be out of there. And when the investigators asked me questions, I would tell the truth. There is no one on this planet worth covering up their potentially murderous behavior. No one. You guys, you virtue signalers, you guys proclaim how you're so good and you're so decent and you value life so well, right? But you're standing up for potential child disappearers. Are you thinking about that? What will it be like when the arrests come? What will you say? How will you manage that? You'll do exactly what Mel and Kel did with the Chris Watts case. I am just so surprised. This is amazing. I know Chris so well. I would never think he would do this. Wow, golly, gee whiz. Oh, you know what? I bet what really happened, I think Chris killed Shanann because she's so mean and bad to him. She was always wanting him to be in videos, selling energy bars, and she was always asking him to play games, and then she would make fun of him. Take the L, Chris, take the L. I bet he was justified in killing her because she was so unpleasant to listen to. But he would never hurt his own babies. I bet Shanann killed the babies. Yeah, because she was annoying. She was always so happy and stuff, and that was so annoying. And so I bet because she's so annoying and happy, I bet she killed the babies. And because Chris is such a good guy, he came in and saw her killing the babies. And so he killed her. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. We have to stand up and fight for his innocence. He did the world a favor. And that is what you sound like. You develop the craziest hypotheses that they're not even based on like fact of evidence. They have no basis in reality. You get so focused in on the person that you are defending, the person that you're speaking out and say, Katie is a mother. She's a mother with beautiful hair, and she's a mother who lives in a beautiful house. And I'm a mother, and I'm going to speak out for mothers. Let's not confuse things, okay? It doesn't matter what kind of house you live in, doesn't matter what your hair looks like, doesn't matter if you're male or female. What matters is there's a 15-year-old boy missing with no shoes on, who left no scent for the dogs to track, who apparently locked the door behind him, even though he didn't think about putting his shoes on, who poofed into thin air, by words of Christopher Proudfoot. Oh, yeah. And did I tell you, his truck was caught up, by his own words, in the geofencing warrant net. And the only way you can get a geofencing warrant is to name the location of a potential crime and what? The time. Period. Done. Made my case. And you say, well, I'm going to defend my family, and yet Christopher Proudfoot was loved. Christopher Proudfoot was his mother is still proclaiming his innocence today. Doesn't mean innocence. This is why following the evidence is important rather than our human biases. I'm a mother. She is easily complicit. Thank you for that, Star. Did these people do this in any other cases? Oh, sure, Holly. All of them. It's always the same group that are doing the virtue signaling. And they're using these stories to make themselves feel better about what good people they are. They're not paying any attention to the story itself. They don't care about mystery. They don't care about putting together pieces of a puzzle. That is not what they care about. They're people from the drama community. They're people that like talking about other people. They're looking for a fight. They want an argument. That's how they make their money. The crazier, the bigger, the worse the shit show, the more money they make. You start screaming and yelling on your YouTube channel, you'll end up with 5,000 people watching. We all love a train wreck, right? I mean, I don't, but a lot of people love a train wreck. And that's what the virtue signalers are doing. They're creating train wrecks. They're attacking other creators. They're not attacking the facts of the crime. These people have dollars, but zero video surveillance. Divine, you're exactly right. And you know what Katie Proudfoot does for a living? I'm not making this up, y'all. She installs surveillance systems. She installs home security systems, the cameras and such. Now, do you believe that they had no cameras or surveillance? Who believes that? Any of you? Hello? 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 Oh, yeah, absolutely. True story. I can do a train wreck at times if it's built on reality when I can tell it's fiction or it involves a real active missing child. No, how's that in any way entertaining? Let's see. Gossip and drama. I mean, it's just the drama community. These people are 100% drama. They don't ever discuss the true facts of the case. They don't ever talk about law. They don't ever talk about how an investigation is run. They don't. All they do is they pick out a creator and they say, I don't like what you're talking about. Now I'm going to attack you to make myself look like a good person. And you can, in fact, collect your own following. You will have people that will subscribe to you because they will say, oh, you're such a good person. You're such a better person than this other person. It happens all the time. In fact, it's funny. One person who time and time again has approached victims, approached family members of victims, approached perpetrators or potential perpetrators. This person very often will say, oh, that's just so gross. I don't know how you guys can reach out and try to call a victim. Oh my God, 6 years of this person bringing victims, family members of victims, family members of perpetrators up on her channel to be interviewed multiple times, many times on her channel, not once, many times. And yet she will sit right now today and she'll say, it just makes me sick to think about people reaching out to the families and friends of victims. Oh, come on. Those of us that have been here a little while, we know what you've been doing on your channel. So, but you will get those people. You will get those people that say, I want to be part of a good community. I want to be one of the moral people. And so I want to be in this community. And then before you know it, they're throwing hate, speculation, and accusations at other people. This same creator that says how terrible it is to approach the victim of a crime, this same person speculated on her channel that Shanann Watts was a pedophile, that she went underwater to take a photograph of Chris Watts' sister's little boy. She said it. Okay, I'm not making it up. I got the video. It's just crazy. Just there's not a lot of people being authentic, right? And I get it. You know, when you do something on the camera and you start screaming and yelling and you look ridiculous, you look like a out of control, baboon. It's embarrassing to have that out there. It feels bad to do something embarrassing and have it out there for people to see. But why would you stand around and say, not me. I never yelled on camera. Don't deny what is fact. So if you have done that, if you have interviewed victims, if you have interviewed perpetrators or families of perpetrators, why lie about it now? Why try to say, I would never do that when you have done it multiple times, multiple crimes? Okay, so YouTube needs to alert us when someone is on the mic without their meds. Now, I can't go there, Kim, but I can chuckle and understand. Mel Mac agrees. She's great to balance the scales. I don't know who y'all talking about. Innocent people. Whoops. Revelation Terra, Psychic Sarah. I don't really believe inside games. I have a lot, but sometimes I do. They're interesting to listen to. Yeah, there is can't see. YouTube needs to alert us. No, it's before that. Innocent people always want to believe the good in folks. Mel Mac, I 100% agree with that statement. You're exactly right. Good, decent people want to believe other people are good and decent. You're exactly right. That is so true. Yes. Mama, it was because I ran when Kay realized what reality was based off the narratives that were all fake. Basically, I was moving here and they realized I wouldn't play along. I mean, momming it up, I agree. I think you have to make some pretty serious leaps and bounds around the evidence to believe what these people believe. I would agree with you about that. I would love to defend Katie. Me too. Wait, what? Me too. In fact, for quite a while, I was thinking, okay, if you go back and you watch my earlier videos, I felt like Katie looked angry, especially like in that camper Nancy Grace interview. I thought she looked very angry. She won't even make eye contact with Chris in another interview. She seems like she is deeply, deeply angry at Chris. And then Chris is kind of sitting there looking uncomfortable, smiling, kind of being this goofy, goon. And I thought, well, what's the dynamic here? Like, did he do something? He's the one with all the CPS reports. Did he do something and he is controlling Katie? He's forcing Katie to keep her mouth shut. Is that what's happening? Or is Katie the culprit? And Christopher legit knows nothing about it. That legitimately he is sort of the bumbling, kind of goofy guy that he presents himself to be in these interviews. Is maybe that's what happened. Maybe she did do this and he didn't. And now I've kind of arrived at the thought that there was probably an accident. Maybe somebody's temper got the best of them, and that Christopher's role is the hounds of hell. He's just trying to protect maybe even his family name, but certainly Katie. I still think it is so notable, so bizarre that this woman would leave her house to go camping with Christopher, to leave her house when her child is out there. I don't know about you guys, but if my child's missing, you could not drag me away under threat of life. I ain't going nowhere. I'm sitting right where the last known location that my child knew me to be. I am not moving. And yet, what'd she do? She got in the damn truck. She went on her little camping trip to the Yogi Bear campground. And then she sat there and said, well, the truth is he could be missing anywhere. And so I'm looking anywhere. You liar. That is not true. Come on, Katie. Stop. It's silly. It's just silly. And I guarantee you, Katie, the cops rolled their eyes. You might not have seen it, but in their minds, they were definitely rolling their eyes. They may have even been flipping you the bird in their own mind. So get out, just like the movie. I just can't imagine not protecting your child and then protecting an idiot like Chris. Diane, not going to disagree, my friend. Yep. Although I attempt to take mine before I get to that point. Oops, didn't. The creator you mentioned that spoke on Shanann Watts isn't on panels, or is she? Oh, she is, Brianna. She is. Cannot stand GW. Not long ago, they put out the Ruckus video and so much more on the Proudfeet. A total turnaround. All of a sudden, I really think some people have been paid to run their narrative. I would never disagree with that, Karen. I also respect immensely when people run across information that causes them to rethink their original position and have the courage to change course, because I think it is really hard to do. I think it's really, really hard to be invested, to be vocal, to be public about an opinion or an issue. And then you have to backtrack and say, okay, I know I said that, but I think I was wrong then. I was totally wrong about elevated truth. I made the video. I said, you're being manipulated. This is psychological warfare. They're going to align with you. They're going to suck you into the madness and try to make you align with the Proudfeet. I was wrong. I was wrong. I was wrong. And as quick as I could, I came out and said, elevated truth, I apologize, I was wrong. And it's not easy to do, especially on YouTube, because then you get attacked. I got lots of attacks. Oh, see, this is why you shouldn't speculate on crimes. Okay, I got all that, and it's okay. So if J for Justice or J for J, if she had one belief previously and now she's changed it to something else, maybe it's a paycheck issue, or maybe it is when you run across some evidence and it makes logically, rationally, you rethink it and you back up. I just respect that. And I don't know I don't know anything about her, so I don't know why she switched course, why she switched directions. Maybe the switch of directions was, hey, these people are asking to befriend me. These people are asking to come on my channel. I can get a lot of traffic because this is an active case that so many people are interested in. So yeah, so I'm going to start speaking out in support of the Proudfeet because that'll get me channel growth. That'll get me a paycheck. Maybe, but I'm, I like getting my alphabet paycheck. I like that, and it's small. Trust me, just look at my views. I don't get much. But I like getting that little extra money every month. It's just kind of fun, oh look, I got a little money to put into my Christmas fund, or I got a little money to put into my vacation fund, my Disney World savings account. So I don't have a problem at all. I mean, let's just look at right now, okay? Just a second. So, I make, well, I don't know if I want to say what I make. How can I say this? Okay, let me say it this way. I make more than $100 an hour. Okay, now I don't charge per hour, but that's about, it's more than that. So I've now spent 2 hours here. The other day, I had like 3 or 4 videos that we did like 3 hours, right? That's a lot of time. That's a lot of time to sit and put things together. I don't even know how many hours that it took going back in time, going through these interviews, finding the exact quotations that I was looking for. I mean, that was hours and hours and hours. That's why some of the things I remember, like I've memorized it. That's because I've watched the same interview 3 or 4 times, looking for something, right? Looking for an exact quote. Or investigating, what does a geofence warrant? Why do you need it? What are the legal problems with it? That was hours and hours, 15, 20 hours in total. That's a great investment in time to bring content that has some kind of interesting value. If you're a YouTube creator and you're spending 30 or 40 hours a week investigating, planning, and then delivering your show, why not get paid? It's time. You're working. So why not have someone pay you? Right? It doesn't make sense that people are like, "Oh, you're making money. You're exploiting kids." Nobody's exploiting kids. Well, maybe some are, but for the most part, the people that in the true crime community, they enjoy talking about the cases. They enjoy talking about the laws. They enjoy watching crimes for the mystery, the outcome. There's nobody sitting around, look, there's a dead kid. Let me go make $5 off of him. I'm sincere. Look up my channel. Maybe I make $1 on some of my videos. Maybe I make $5 on the really, really good ones. I am not making money, folks. I do this because you guys are like my friends. Like, I enjoy talking, right? I enjoy reading your perspective and seeing your take on things. We're part of a community. We're a friendship group. But there are people that this is how they make their living. Maybe they got kids at home. They don't want to work, and have babysitters for their kids. Those people are putting time in. They should be paid. So, yeah, you're not going to catch me talking about, oh, you made money. I don't care if you make money. I think you should make money. It's your time. Make it if you can. I don't care. But I got distracted. Hold on. What was I saying? Agree, Sunset. I appreciate the video he did. Which video? Who are y'all talking about? E.T. isn't a priest. If he's been told something, he needs to take it to law enforcement. He did take it to law enforcement, Sunset Gazing. He has been in contact with law enforcement. They have been clear with him what he can say on his YouTube channel. He identifies as a YouTube creator first. He told Christopher Proudfoot he's a YouTube channel creator first. And the cops told him what it was that he could talk about and the things they did not want him talking about. Does that really sound like, a completely benign investigation is going on? What do you think, Clemenati? You think that there might be something happening? And are you sure you want to be caught? You want to be brought up on the stand? Do you want to become a witness in this disappearance, potential murder of a 15-year-old kid? Are you sure that's what you want in your life? What idiot signs up for that? I agree, Kim. As of October 23rd, after autism diagnosis, any founded abuse of Sebastian would change from a misdemeanor to a Class A felony with automatic prison time. I bet CPS let him know that, and more than enough motive. It is more than enough motive. It's absolute, complete motive. And there are witnesses that heard him calling Sebastian horrible names, making fun of him. Hell, he's so used to making fun of the kid, he did it on YouTube channels and thought he was just telling funny little story. But in fact, he's bullying his stepson. It's terrible. They're way too into people's dollars. Holly, they spend an... I've seen some of these people that will go through a whole live and record every super chat so that they know how much a person's making. You know what? The creators only get about 55, 60% of that super chat. So don't you have something better to do with your time? And again, I'm going to say it. If people get a pair, they donate hours of their time. You get paid when you go to work. Oh, yeah, but my work's important. My work's important. I'm an accountant. My work's important. I'm a teacher. My work's important. I serve hamburgers at McDonald's. No, time gets exchanged for value. The dollar is simply symbolic of the value. Time is what you're being paid for. So, people are up here. They're providing entertainment, if you want to call it that, or you're having discussion, that companionship. Do you know there's people that actually get paid for going and sitting with elderly people who live alone, who may be lonely or need help with their medication, or they need a lot more help than that? They're literally called sitters, and they get paid for their time, folks. So stop caring about what income the YouTube creators are making. It's none of your business. That brings me to another point, too. This really bothers me. You have a man whose stepson, a woman whose son, friends, you have them trying to find the missing kid. They don't go out and search. They are actively paying attorneys to shut down communication. They're going around on YouTube threatening people who are making videos about Sebastian. And they are really worried about people that are making money doing their videos. I ask you to consider this. If your child went missing, if your husband or wife went missing, Jules, if your beloved dog goes missing, are you going to be angry that people are making money putting your story out there, putting the photographs of your loved ones or your pets out there? Are you going to be angry that they're making money? Or are you just going to be damn glad that there's someone willing to do it? Truth. I'm going to wait for the answer. I want to know. Are you this happened? Lost my beloved cat, my beloved Nubbin, who is like my child, right? She went missing. She got out of the house. It was crazy that she got out of the house because she's terrified of being outside. I looked everywhere for that silly cat, everywhere. I paid an organization that will take the write-up and the picture and go put it out on all these like websites and Facebook pages and everything, looking for this cat, right? It's for like pets. I paid them. I gave them money to post my cat's picture and to talk about how she went lost and the location that she went lost in. I paid. You want people talking. You want people looking at the photographs. You want them to know the map location. You want them to know who's involved in that child's life. It's crazy that you try to stop anybody from covering his case. Unless you're a little bit worried about what people may know. Don't talk about my truck. Don't you say anything about my truck. No, elevated truth. Say what you want to say. And don't let that screaming little Lord Farquaad stop you from speaking what is fact. And if you don't want to speak fact, then don't speak about it. But of course, tell the cops whatever's been said. I would feel like people donating monetarily to help find my loved one is like the money I can't afford to pay them. Such a great point. Absolutely. Hey, Marlena, good to see you. I'm so upset to hear that Sebastian was let down from the system and all the parents. Sebastian is one of those kids, including Summer Wells, who has been let down time and time and time and time again by everyone. Even his grandparents violated him. Oh, so horrible. It's a horrible story. It's terrible. Can't find my cat. I go absolutely bonkers. 99.9% of the time, he's somewhere in the house. Judy. Yeah, I've had that too. I'll tell you what I learned, and then I'm going to end this live. A cat, when it gets out, when it notices that it's lost, when it notices that it's away from its home area, they will stop where they're at and they will find a hiding place. And they won't move. They won't try to turn around and go back the way they came. They won't try to find their home. They just simply stop. And they burrow where they are, find a hiding place, and that's where they stay. And so a lot of people have these visions of their cat got out and they're like, oh, my poor cat is wandering hundreds of miles away. No, dogs will do it. Cats will never do it. They stop and they stay right where they are. Most missing cats are found within 200 yards of their house. So when your cat goes missing, don't panic. Just get organized. Look in the closest places first. Look for little places like under the stairs where maybe there's deep grass, some place where they can settle in and then just peer out with just their eyes. The easiest way to find the lost cat is to wait till it's dark, take a flashlight, and then go out and start shining it methodically around the house until you see their eyes. That came from the organization that posted the photos of my cat. And in fact, they were 100% right. My cat was found underneath some stairs that are on the side of my house. Underneath the very lowest rung of stair, there was like some bricks and stuff that were like stacked beside it. And I walked past and I heard something. I still can't tell you what it was. Something just caught my attention. And I turned around and I shone my flashlight and there were her two bright eyes. So there you have it. And there was my nubbin. And she refused to come out. And I kept saying, Nubbin, come in, Nub. Here we come, Nubbin. Nope. She was like, I ain't moving, Mom. I'm so scared. So I had to like lay down in the mud and drag and pull her. And I finally got her out. It was great, though. I was very excited. Look at what a sweetheart you are, Lori Staggs. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you more than you know. This is for Christmas Fun 2025. Trishy, you're a sweetheart as well. Thank you so much. I love the conversation with you. We don't always agree, but that's what makes it an interesting conversation because we are always polite to each other. So thank you for that. She says, I always appreciate your in-depth analysis on these cases and your work. God bless you. And God bless you too, Trishy. Thank you so much for being a good friend to my channel. Thank you. I found my cat 1.5 miles away at the gas station being a lot lizard. Oh my God. So your cat must have been like an outside cat who was street smart. Lot lizard in the ditch on the diesel truck side 2 weeks ago. She was gone for 2 months. Oh my God, that's horrible. But I am really super happy you found her sipping on. Wet cat food definitely helps. Yeah, that's the other thing they tell you is take the cat food, put it out on the step, and the smell will come. Would you all think would have been picked up, Sebastian? Let's see. What do you all think would have picked up? Who do you all think? Okay, who do you all think would have picked Sebastian up in a car? Well, number one, let me say this. I don't think, I do believe the 2 flashlights are Sebastian and somebody else. And I don't think he was drugged. That tells me he knew whoever was in the car. And then I don't think I can say anything else past that. I didn't know she was, and do you know, yeah. For a while, I had a, let me see if, I don't know if I can find it. It's been a long time. I had this introduction to my channel and I quit playing it. I don't know. Maybe I got bored with it, but for some reason, I stopped playing it. But there's a quote of Christopher Proudfoot in that clip. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Is this it? This says it's the ending. Jewels of Thought, True Crime. I think it is this one right here. Let me look and see. Let me play this real quick and see if this is the intro. I'm going to show it to y'all if this is it. No, this isn't it. Shoot. Oh, maybe it is. Why can't I hear it? Where's the sound? Hold on a minute. I'm listening. One minute. No, that wasn't it. Shoot. I'll look for it. Dang, I wish I. Let's see. Maybe it is. Maybe it's this one. Y'all just talk among yourselves. Oh, yeah, buddy. Oh, yeah, buddy. I found it. Okay. Yay. All right, hold on a minute. I'll share. Present. Share screen. Okay, y'all ready? Listen to this. And I have a point to be made, okay?
I see the violence in your eyes and it's a silent fighting. I see the lies in their mind and you can't decide cause they only blinding.
This is like an intro to my
Go away
channel.
and go from the bad guys, follow my advice cause they're gonna be biting you. They're gonna kill if you let them through. Go, mommy, go now. I really don't want to see you cry. Mommy, go now. I really wanna brutalize, let him agonize, cause it's gonna be biting you. They're gonna kill if you let them through. Go, mommy, go.
Listen.
Hey, you need to wake up. Put the dogs up. Go to bed.
What was that, Chris?
Hey.
Listen to what Chris said.
Hey, you need to wake up. Put the dogs up. Go to bed.
All right. And that's the end of the video, the intro. So when he says that, when he said, hey, you need to get up, put the dogs up, go to bed. Does that sound to you guys very directive? Like he's telling her, like, this is what we're going to do. These are the next steps, right? If I'm engaging in wild speculation, like people like to accuse us of, I'm going to go ahead and do it right now. This is wild speculation, okay? I can envision that, let's just say he's the one in the car. Katie's walking Sebastian out to the car. She puts him in the car, and then Chris looks at her sternly and says, okay, you need to go back to the house. You need to put the dogs up, and you need to go to bed. Now, we got a timeline. We got to follow the timeline to a T. Remember, both these people are military. That's what that sounds like to me. The way he tells the story is that he spends a 3-hour phone call. Who else do we know had a 3-hour phone call? Oh, yeah, Chris Watts and Nicole Kessinger. Really curious, really strange how that happened. Oh, yeah. And what about Harris, who went missing in Corpus Christi barefoot? Oh, Sebastian was barefoot. Were they taking true crime stories and taking elements to concoct their story? Is that what they did? Think about this. But it seems like I can envision loading Sebastian up and then him reminding her, we got this mapped out, we got the plans, we got the minutes in place. Now, go back to the house, put the dogs up, go to bed. Isn't that crazy? I mean, it does sound like that. It's really, really curious.
You need to wake up. Put the dogs up. Go to bed. Hey, you need to wake up. Put the dogs up. Go to bed. Hey, you need to wake up. Put the dogs up. Go to bed. Hey, you need to wake up. Put the dogs up. Go to bed. You need to wake up. Put the dogs up. Go to bed. Hey, you need to wake up. Put the dogs up. Go to bed.
It's crazy. Those are not the words. Yes, Jackie Bliss, just what I say. Those are not the words of someone lovingly telling a family member, hey, you're falling asleep. Don't you want to go to bed and be comfortable? Hey, you need to get up, put the dogs up, go to bed. No, that's something else. It's something else. I think we know where it came from. I mean, the bleeding of truth is a well-known phenomenon. It's hard to hide it. It comes out in our regular day-to-day words. I think he was incapacitated, chloroform perhaps to avoid death sent, but finished off. I think it's possible. Jules, thank you. I'll try to be there. We're doing a birthday dinner for my son on Saturday, so I don't know what time it'll end, but if I can attend, I'll definitely be there. Marlene is going to try to be there. All right. Let's see. I'm so sorry to hear calls were made, but as military family know, information is something they're never going to get. He probably has been moved several times. Give me any arguments. Yeah, it is definitely one of the more interesting, tragic situations for our community. Could no handle being around someone like this. Same, Melissa. And yet these people have friends that are willing to go public and and defend them, right? Go online and defend them. So it's pretty curious. So, all right, folks, I got to go. It's been 2 hours and I appreciate you guys. Y'all are so much fun. Again, Trishy, thank you so much for being a good friend to the channel. Lori, thank you for my Christmas fund. I appreciate it. All right. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I know the day after Christmas is kind of sad because the Christmas tree doesn't have anything underneath it. But look, the only good thing about this is that we're one day closer to Christmas next year. So let's stay positive, people. All right. It's good talking to you guys. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.